So good morning, students. So let's start a new day with a new news. And today, as you know, that the farmers are going to Delhi for demonstration, and this is a big news. So let's now start our program here. This is the Unacademy learning app, and as you are aware that Unacademy is the largest online platform in the country, and it is the best platform for the UPSC and IAS exams. And let's see, so many structured batches with top educators, batches in Hindi, English, late night, as well as 2-year batches, and 100% syllabus coverage, vast range of optionals, prelim test series with evaluation, and dedicated doubt clearing classes, daily current affairs practice, easy answer writing practice, performance analysis, sectional quizzes, and interview preparation. And so we have this live class environment, live polls, leaderboard, live doubt and solving, and live interaction. And therefore, you can see that you can take advantage of these this online during the Corona session. And now let's go to this slide, next one. Now we have this personal coach, live environment, live polls and leaderboard, live doubt solving, live interaction. So this is the best online platform in the country, and for you to be successful in these top exams. And now this, for getting a 10% discount, kindly use this code VCS10. So now you can see that in for 6 months and for 12 months and for 24 months, and so you can get, if you subscribe for 36 months, you get a lot of off. And students should IAS is not 1 or 2 months study. It requires 1 or 2 years of consistent studies, and therefore and so many good teachers are there, and so many good faculty, and even we successful IAS officers are guiding the students for current affairs. And then let's go to this slide of current affairs today. And the first slide, you have this in today's paper. So no pain, no gain, persistent. So as you see, there was an incident in the life of Thomas Edison, when a huge explosion erupted in West Orange, New Jersey on 10th of December 1914. 10 buildings in Thomas Edison plant, which made up half the site, were engulfed in flames. Machinery worth millions and all the papers pertaining to his research were burned to ashes. Later, at the scene of blaze, Edison was quoted in the New York Times as saying, "Although I am over 67 years old, I will start all over again tomorrow." See the persistence. And closer home, we have the example of M.K. Gandhi, who practiced what he preached and persisted in working for India's independence through non-violent means. Gandhiji's persistence in following non-violence, two observers say, is best epitomized by his march to Dundee in protest against tax on salt. Even more basic level, Gandhi followed through what he set out to do. And Nobel Prize winner Kailash Satyarthi and his organization Bachpan Bachao single-handedly brought to the center stage the debate on child rights, over 90,000 children from servitude and managed to rehabilitate, reintegrate and educate them. So persistence is the main thing, you see. And then if you go on the Martin Luther King and so many people, and the last example he gives is Jack Canfield and his uh, co-author Mark Victor Hansen. They wrote a book, and the Chicken Soup for the Soul series, and they approached 130 publishers initially, and nobody agreed to publish their book, and then their agent dropped them as well, and then they determined, and then book was finally picked by a small publisher in Florida, and after that the two authors never looked back. Today there are 250 Chicken Soup for the Soul books and over 500 million copies sold worldwide. So see that so in the IAS exams, you have to see the persistence. And let's go to the next slide. Now, of course, the farmers are now marching to Delhi in protest against the farm bills, 3 farm bills that the central government brought out. Of course, they should have consulted the state governments, as it is agriculture is also is on the concurrent list, so state should have been consulted. But now, since Modi ji, the main objective of Modi ji was to free the farmer from the clutches of these middlemen and APMCs. Of course, Punjab government will now lose 3,500 crores through APMCs, and they're all these bada seats who were getting fat at the expense of farmers, and they will also lose the money. So and they are supporters of, and so they have organized a well with their all rations and everything, and so they want to put their but I do not think that the government will this is a good step. And because if farmers and if the multinationals and these exporters they have contract farming, and then because the farmer is weak financially, so they will put in lot of capital and lot of technology, so that the farmer will benefit, and his risk is shifted to the MNC now. And as far as the MSP is concerned, the Union Agriculture, that our former chief economic advisor. So can there be a better combination of experts now? And a capital mistake, as this came in yesterday's paper also, that permitting industrial houses to own and control banks would be a grievous error, and one that could undermine both economic growth and democracy. So already, as as for example, the big corporate houses, even though they do not own the banks now, but you see all these corporate houses have swindled a lot of public money, and because of their mistakes in planning and execution. And let's talk about Vijay Mallya. Then Vijay Mallya ji started this Kingfisher, and then 15,000 crores he could not repay the loans, and he was having a very lavish lifestyle, and he diverted some of the funds to some villas abroad, and then now we are left with 15,000 crores. And Nirav Modi was a jeweler, and then the lower Karamcharis of the bank, they colluded, and even the passwords were with Nirav Modi, and then he made false papers. Once, of course, the papers were made by the bank initially, but later on he was making forged documents, and now we are left with so much of he has eloped. And these Western countries are their judiciary is so liberal, and then they say that the jails in India do not have fans or AC. Now you want to us to put in air conditioners, or and create a special jail for these people. And then what about Sahara Shri Subrata Roy? He was in his earlier years, he was going on a scooter and launched a Ponzi scheme that the money will be doubled in 3-4 months, and the poor people, rickshawalas, thangewalas, in the hope of marrying their daughters. And they trusted him, and now he's left 67,000 crores. SEBI is now approaching Supreme Court that 67,000, and all these politicians, when his son got married in Lucknow, I had gone there as observer in the election. I was an IAS officer at that time, and 300 new Mercedes were bought and for the fetching the guests from the airport. And even the Prime Minister, then Atal Bihari Vajpayee ji, and Advani ji, and all whosoever mattered in the country was there. And the Sahara city is, they were sponsoring the Indian cricket team, but now he doesn't intend to return. So even though the banks were not in their control, and they have so many cases have come. We had this Bhansali, CR Bhansali, he ran away about 300 400 crores of poor people money in Rajasthan, and then he fled the country. So now question is that if these corporate houses themselves own a bank, for example, the Adani, Reliance Industries owns a bank, and suppose they want 50,000 crores loan, then would the MD have guts to say no if the project is not financially viable, or adequate rate of returns are not there? So this is a real question, and so we have to go with a pinch of salt. But I saw there was another article yesterday, and it says that this is a for the quick industrialization of this thing. If the corporate houses, you can say that Reliance, Mukesh Ambani, it is he's the largest, richest man in the world, and now to say that he will take loans from some, let's say, future Reliance bank, and would run out, it hardly makes sense. So therefore it is also both the government should be very careful, and all the apprehensions, they must be kept in mind, and some sort of autonomy to some they have to be so, the banks have board of directors, and so some kind of control should be there, so that if they are lending to their prime creditors, prime lenders, or if the Reliance Bank is lending to Reliance Industry, then a deeper appraisal by independent people should also be there. So this kind of checks and balances we should keep. So this is a new this thing, and everybody should know. And so let's go to our next slide here. Federal spirit. So now, as we know, we are so many, center is there, and then so many states, and then union government's unhappiness with some states not cooperating with central schemes underscored the importance of better state-state relations. The bullet train project and failure of some states to enroll street vendors for the PM Swarnidhi microfinance scheme.